Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing tonight? How are y'all doing tonight? Okay, I like that a little better. Well, we decided to start things a little differently tonight. I know that y'all are coming expecting a worship night. It's a little chilly outside, so we decided to move it in and do a little roasting. So, welcome to the roast of Pastor Kelly Payne. Come on down. That's your face up there, yep. He has no idea this is happening. It is very hard to pull anything on him around here because he does not delegate. So, here he comes. We're going to roast him tonight. Yesterday was his 21st anniversary as our pastor. Yes, and we did not want to go without celebrating him a little bit. So, I'm sorry if you were really, really looking forward to a worship night. It's going to happen soon. But tonight, we're going to love on our pastor. All right? Okay, yeah. Youth, what did he tell you right before you ended about worship night? Oh, there you go.
I said I have to do nothing, and I'm excited.
Oh, well, that's not what they said. So, okay, so we're going to start, and tonight our first roaster is going to be, I had to beg her to get out of her PJs today. She's known him the longest of all the roasters, Deborah Epps.
Texted me. I can't see. Can't see with the glasses. Can't see with the mask. Thank you. I mean, I seriously can't see. Okay, she wanted me to go like back in the day. And I feel like I've told all my back in the day stories.
No, you haven't. I got a few on you, though.
Well, I know. I met Kelly Payne in 10th grade English class, Muskogee High School. Me and Shelley Crawford. And all my stories I came up with tonight ended up being Crawford stories. Does that surprise anybody? Shelley and I came from Hilldale. Back then, Hilldale went to 9th grade. So there was about 20 of us Hilldale kids came to Muskogee High, didn't know anybody. And Kelly and Shelley never met a stranger. I was the shy one. I just kind of tagged along.
Do I get a mic?
No. She said, I've only got 5 minutes, so I stuck to this story. Shelley didn't do her homework. We had some big paper due.
Oh, I know it.
Can I tell this story? Have y'all heard it before? So Kelly, being the nice, sweet person he is, gives his paper to Shelley to write her paper. So what does she do? She just copies it. Well, you didn't know her very well yet. So we get our papers back. Shelley gets an A, I think. Didn't she get an A and you got a D or something? He got an F. And Mrs. Denton chewed him out for cheating. So he got mad, threw his paper, stood up, threw his paper in the trash can and said, I'm calling my mother. Okay, what Shelley and I didn't know at the time was that, because we were like, oh my gosh, who's his mother? You know, was his mother's, you know, who is she, you know? Because Shelley thought she was really going to get it. Well, Carol worked at West High as the secretary. So that was our introduction to Mr. Kelly Payne.
She went light on that, and I appreciate it. That was a bad deal. I fell up in her face.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why I went louder.
That was sophomore year, and I only get 5 minutes. So I thought I would just kind of generalize. What? Oh, stop it. Those two went on to be president and secretary of every school club there was. I played sports. I didn't do anything else. They're.
Oh, you were on the dance team. Don't even lie.
I said, thank you. And that was my senior year. There's lots of funny stories. Most of all, he's told on himself right up here from the pulpit, and they make me. I really enjoy those. Some of them I know. Some of them I don't. He's told stories about his car. It leaned like this, went down. The man ate every meal at Taco Tico. Is anybody here eating at Taco Tico back in the day? Was that the only Mexican place here in town? It's the only place he wanted to eat. Then there was the prom. I had to tell this story. Can I tell this story? Yeah. There was about 4 of us couples went to the prom together. Did anybody know Kirk Denton in here? Kirk Denton had a used car. His dad had a used car lot here in town. We used his van and we drove to Fort Smith to eat at the Lighthouse because there wasn't hardly any place. About the only place in town to eat was Baker's. Then we came back and then Kelly's date disappeared for the rest of the night. Was your what? Oh, this is my story. This is my story. Well, so you invited another girl to the prom and not your girlfriend? Okay, well that's a whole nother story. Yeah, his prom date left. It still makes me laugh pretty hard. But seriousness, I have Kelly and Shelley to thank for my salvation. They both were my Christian influence. Shelley, he led me to Christ. Shelley led me to First Baptist. My senior year, I got baptized and saved. That was 1981. What were you, Joan? Were you in first grade at First Baptist? You were 6 years old at First Baptist? Yeah. And a young Joan McWilliams in the nursery as I was getting baptized. We've been going to church together ever since. So later this week, okay, that was senior year, right? So senior year, me and you and somebody else ran around together a lot. And Kelly went off to college, and the other person went off to college. And I was here, me and Crawford were stuck here together. So we started commuting to Northeastern together. That girl made me late every day. I'm not kidding. So at the end of the term, I got a D for being tardy, and Shelley got an A due to a computer glitch. Do you see a pattern? Shelley always gets the A's, and Kelly's stories always turn into Shelley's stories. So I was doing some cleaning this week and found all the cards, and this is going to make me cry. I found all the cards you sent me from OSU. Encouraging cards. Yeah, it's going to make me cry. But what we didn't know is how hard a time he was having at Northeastern. None of the cards even mentioned. What did I say? He didn't mention the hard time he was having adjusting to college life. They were all just encouraging. One of them wrote us a poem on our anniversary. He's just a big old softy. He's always loved people, always been an encourager. The main point I wanted to make was, even back then, I feel like you could look back and see God was preparing him for this 21 years later. It was very obvious. He was a leader back then. He was a natural-born leader, loved people, encouraged people, even when he was probably the one needing the encouraging, but he didn't tell it, probably much ways he does now. So I love you, Mr. Kelly Payne. Made me cry. I hate you. Thank you for being our loving, caring pastor.
Would someone mind to shut that door back there? It's driving him crazy. Thank you so much. Okay, next we're gonna have the weatherman himself, Ron Morton. He was busy in the back.
Well, there's several things. I know you had the pulpit last, I understand. That's okay. I'm going to go soft, then I'm going to roast. Probably the biggest thing that I love about Kelly is he's been a part of our family since day one. He's been there for both of my children at their birth. He was there, he preached both of my parents, their funerals. And, you know, it's just, I think probably the biggest thing for Kelly that I love about, he's not just a preacher, he's a friend, but to me, I think he's a shepherd. And true definition of a shepherd that takes care of their herd, okay? The flock. And I think he really does a wonderful job of doing that for us from day one. You come into Timothy Baptist Church, you know you're going to be loved on by your preacher. And that filtered down to us as a congregation and as Timothy Baptist Church, the members themselves. And I think that is just a true testament of you and what you do in your ministry from day one. And I love you for that, and I appreciate you and what you've done for my family. He and I have been through a lot of things together. Probably some funny things. Couple things. One thing that comes to my mind, one time he heard me say a wordy dirt on the golf course one time. And I think he laughed so hard he about fell out of the golf cart, to be quite honest with you. And it was one of those words that just slipped. And I'm just being honest. It just slipped out of my mouth. And it was at Cobblestone. And I don't think I've hit a straighter golf ball since then. It was at Porter? Oh, yeah, not Cobblestone. Eagle Crest. He's making fun of me now. But probably the most prized thing that was the first time he went storm chasing with me. And I'm still in trouble over that, to be honest with you, because the video I shot of the tornado, I shot over on the film of Kayla coming home from being born. Yes, I did. So it shows the tornado. It shows the tornado touching down, hitting OG&E. Shows Kelly. You hear Kelly. But then it goes to Lisa bringing in Kayla. So actually, it was your fault too. So, but you have put up with my girls. You've been there for my girls from day one, obviously, running the video. Kayla now working with you here at the church, and I'm so sorry. I really am just so sorry. And so, but I do have that video of that day, and Kelly's reaction that day. And at first, we need to turn it down. AJ's turn it down just a little bit because, I mean, Kelly does get a little vocal. So, because the tornado is right at us, I didn't cuss. So, Parker, would you start that video, please, Parker?
Oh my God. Chevron's Techron fuel system cleaner. Buy one, get one free.
This is a tornado approaching us.
The official auto parts store of NASCAR.
Oh my God.
Better prices every day.
Holy crap.
you'll start hearing Kelly here in a minute. I mean, it gets a little horrifying at first. And Kelly just loses it. He just loses it. I don't know what else to say. He just loses it. That's Kelly. I'm sorry. That's your preacher. That's your preacher. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry. That's your preacher. That's your shepherd right there. So, I love you very much, brother, and I appreciate you.
That was great. Oh, man. All right. Next up, we are going to have someone who is very different, very crazy, and was KP's longtime secretary and tenant, Amber Watson. To know her is to, well, love her.
Yep. So I was wondering what I was going to say, and I'm going to stand over here so I can, have my mask off. Because there are a lot of stories, but I'm gonna go with some of the funny ones just to tell you, because I have 5 minutes, and to show you me and Kelly's relationship. So how it started out, I came whenever I was a sophomore in college, and that was God working, to tell you the truth, before I go funny. I met Allie, and he knew what he was doing right then. Kelly became a father figure. What he did not know is what he was getting himself into. So, with that said, I'm going to go into a couple of stories about being the best secretary in the whole wide world, because I am. So, a couple of years ago, went through a lot of vehicles. Joan knows, a lot of Kelly knows. So, long story short, I went through a couple of them, and Kelly was like, "You can take the church van." So, of all people, I am the person that got the church van towed. So, with that said, I am the secretary the next day, and they're calling, and they are asking who the custodian of the van was. And I was like, well, actually, I clean the church a lot, so I might as well be the custodian of the van. And you hear Kelly in his office say, "No, Amber, no, that is not what they mean. That is not what they mean. You are not the owner of that van." I was like, actually, I think I got it wrong. I clean the church. I do not own the van. So that is one of the stories. Another story, so it was almost revival time around now, and this one is funny because it's almost Halloween, and my hair is green, and we are about to have revival. So Ashley just so happens to be, the best hairstylist ever, and she magically got a I got a free hairdo to get it done by revival time, so I would not have green hair for revival. I went and got it done. So, by the way, I could not be the best joker ever because I had to get my hair done. Last funny thing, Kelly used to be in the praise band with us, and we used to have praise band colors, and we would all try to dress some sort of way. So I never caught on to Kelly always picking on my outfits, like it was the wrong color, or it was too short, or "Are you gonna really wear those boots? Like, those boots, are you sure?" It got me every time, y'all. I went home and changed every single time. It wasn't, but with that said, I am going to say this. I'm crazy, like Allie said, and I am. And there is no other person who I have felt open with enough to be myself, and Kelly gets that. Yes, he wants to murder me sometimes, and I said murder because he does. It's a given. But he is always there for me when I need him, and when I've needed him, over and over and over. So, with that said, I am done, and I love you.
All right. Next up, you hear him call her out an awful lot, so it is her turn with the mic. Miss Rita, come on down. Get him good, girl. Get him good.
I'm going for it. I got to put my glasses on, y'all. Yeah, so I can read. Okay. So while I'm roasting you, I've given the guys some pictures I'd like for them to show also. Some of when you were not quite the size you are right now. So I didn't know much about Kelly until my mother passed away. And I think that's where I really, you did Casey's wedding and I saw you, but I didn't pay any attention to you. Yeah, I didn't even think that. But, but when Mother passed away, he came out to the house and Susie introduced him, and I could not call him Kelly. Everybody I knew named Kelly was a girl, and I kept calling him Kenny. But I finally got it right. And so Susie also let me know what a prankster you were, and that you were afraid of mice and snakes. And so he performed Mother's funeral, and after that we didn't see each other for a while, and these two kept bothering me to come to church. So anyway, we were going to church somewhere else, so we came here. So I know he makes it seem like we've known each other forever, but we really only known each other since, 2010? But he is part of me. So in the 10 years that I've been here, he's become, as you know, very comfortable using my name. From, oh, poor Mike, to even you, Rita. So now I'm going to use your name. Are you watching the pictures too? Okay. I don't know if he picks on me because I sit right here and I'm the only one he can see, or or if he knows me so well that he knows whatever he says, I'm going to walk out of here and I'm still going to love him. So that's probably why. But now it's time for me to talk about him. I wish I could have found the one with you at Casey's wedding because you had a lot of hair, but your mouth was also like that. It was wide open. So I guess that me, my sisters, and we started this little pranking with him back and forth because having known that he was afraid of mice and him preaching Mother's funeral, we had a little mouse on a little bouncy thing that when you open the casket, the little mouse moved. And so we were sitting over there. I was watching his face, and he was going, just smiling. You probably wanted to run, didn't you? And then I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that when y'all were in the old building, you had Donna Garland stand up in the middle of the sermon and scream, "Happy birthday!" And Susie said a bad word really loud. And it embarrassed her children. You've been picking on my family forever. And then you came down the aisle in a clown suit with them playing circus music. And so before I joined this church, y'all probably don't believe this, but I had a pretty bad mouth. And so, a potty mouth, yeah. I know you're not. He snuck up behind me and he scared me. And I think we were sitting back over there. But I almost said a bad word. And I said, "You almost made me say a bad word." And he said, "I just laugh at you." And then there's that time he dressed up like Medea. And he looked just like Medea, but a white Medea, but he looked like her. And then she was Joe. Yeah, she was Joe. and then, where were you when you lost your pants in public? Dollywood. So, And I tell him all the time, Kelly, and I tell other people this, don't sneak up on Mike and goose him. He will hit you. He will knock you out. He literally knocked a woman out at Brockway that snuck up and goosed him. He literally knocked her out. I'm for real. But he continues to do it, and you're going to get hit someday. He's not going to be your favorite buddy anymore. Anyway, then there's that one time he literally showed his behind. Literally showed his behind. I had asked him to come to Monarch to pick up something for me. And we were at 24th and Broadway, and I can't remember if I was standing on the porch or if I just was standing in the door talking to him. And he had on these boots that came up to here. Yeah, you know which boots, don't you? And we were talking. He was getting ready to go. And so there's this concrete porch, and then there's one step, and then you're on asphalt. Well, he was talking to me and poof, face down on the asphalt. Scared the heck out of me. He hit his head on the brick wall, scraped his head, literally tore a hole in brand new jeans. His knee was all bloody and nasty. And it was horrible when it first happened because Clay and Allie were there and they jumped out of the car. Dad, are you okay? And he was sitting there like, I think so. How long did it take you to get up? A while. And then later he said, I know you saw my underwear. And I said, I wasn't worried about your underwear. I was worried about how you were. No, I didn't have my phone on me. But anyway, if I'd have had my phone, I would have had pictures to blackmail. But anyway, I said all that to say this. I've been nice. I haven't said some of the other things that I wanted to say. My husband said that's not appropriate for you to say, so I'm not going to say it. So he protected you. But I love you. You are part of my family. You will always be part of my family. You can use my name anytime you want to. You just have to be ready to take the wrath of Rita. Okay? Love you.
Don't fall.
All right, next we have Miss Joan McWilliams.
Hello. Hey. Good. How are you? So Allie texted me this afternoon and was like, hey, we're doing a little surprise roast of Pastor Kelly. Would you like to speak? And I was like, yeah, of course. Who doesn't want this chance? So Kelly's been the pastor here for 21 years. I've been a member here for almost 20 years at this point. So we go way back in the old Timothy history. There's a lot of things that I could say. There's a lot of stories that I could tell that are really funny. Some of the stuff that's already been said, but I thought the direction I would go in, because being a member of the choir literally gets to see a different side of the pastor. So while you all are out here on your phones and sleeping and not paying attention, we get to see this every Sunday. And sometimes these little speakers right here, I don't know if y'all know there's speakers right here. Sometimes if these aren't turned on or they're not turned up, we can't even hear. So we just sit up there and act like we're paying attention and amen every once in a while when somebody wakes up. And then every once in a while we see one of these. Or this thing. Sometimes when y'all, I know this isn't a roast the congregation tonight, but it kind of goes. I have to take my mask off for this. Sometimes when y'all are really not paying attention or really sleeping, and he turns around to talk to the choir, it's this. Because he's making fun of y'all. I mean, I'm just gonna say that. But So, I mean, we do get to see a lot of things. One of my favorite things, and I thought I would do a little demo for y'all, but I have to give you some background on this. So if you've never been in the choir before, there's certain things that choir directors do to tell you what to do. You know, like sing a song, shut your mouth, hold it out, you know, things like that. If you've been around very many, which I feel kind of bad because younger people don't have the experience of having a music minister stand up here and lead you every single week. Oh, that's way too fast. I'm sorry. It's more like this for most of them. But, you know, for the most part, if you've seen this before, it all looks pretty much the same. Kelly has what I will call a very organic method of choir directing. And organic is a word that we use that means you did not learn that in school. Nobody taught you how to do that. It means I do what I want, and you just learn it. But it sticks with you. So there's certain things that he does that in certain songs that we sing, like if Stephanie is singing the solo, Kelly will usually come up and direct us because we are like a wild herd of cats and don't know what to do. And if I hear that song, even somebody else singing it, I hear it on the radio, I see him in my mind directing that song while that song is going. So here's a few of the things that he does. I'm going to give y'all some examples. Now you might think this means I just had Hamlin's, I'm going to barf. This means, this is actually feel it in your heart and let that come out of your mouth. So, we went over this one. This one means something stuck where it shouldn't be. This means you sing this part. You, right there in this section, you sing it. This is just regular singing. We're singing, which is kind of neat because if you know sign language, this is song and sign language, so it's kind of like that. That's why you do, yeah. Okay. This means louder. This means, I said sing it louder. This means smile. I'm tired of looking at your frowny face. And this means I turned too many pages and I got lost. So, carry on about your business. So I thought I would do a little demo for you so that you could see what this looks like in action. So the next time that he's up there leading a song, you'll kind of know what's going on. And I don't need this anymore. You got it?
Man, it was very accurate. If you've ever been in the choir, it was very accurate. Okay, next we have Chafin Munsell getting his turn.
Hey, Pop. Yeah. So, was talking to Al about a few things to share tonight, and I had an awesome story come to me over there, and I don't know if I've ever told it. So that'll be here in just a second. There's a couple of things. So for those that don't know and that keep texting me to turn the air down in certain places around the church, I haven't worked here for about 5 years. It's just a public service announcement. But I did work here at the church for about 6 years. I did work here at the church for about 6 years, from a little bit after my 16th birthday until I graduated college, I think, somewhere around there. On my 16th birthday, Kelly hit me up, wanted to take me to lunch. As a 16-year-old kid, I'm like, yeah, duh. Sure. So we go to Okies, R.I.P. I drive by there, I'm like, oh, it's so sad. And so we developed a good friendship and mentorship. I mentored him for all those years, and so that was good. And so working here at the church, I learned a lot of stuff from Kelly, learned a lot about driving, learned a lot about nutrition, about claustrophobia, a lot of stuff. So I'm going to share a couple of quick things that my wife really enjoys about Kelly through getting to hang out with him over the years. So if you've ever been in his office when he's been working on his computer, I will give you an example of how he types. And I don't know how it works, but it is the most intense typing I've ever seen on a computer. And for those that have worked here, you know how many computers he's been through. And so I'm pretty concerned about the Mac he has right now. Mine fell off a car, and it survived, and I don't know if his is going to last like a year of typing. So there's that. And then for those that have seen him text, it's awesome too. Or if you've seen him text at his desk, it's awesome. And you can tell whenever he's frustrated. And this might be Katie's favorite thing about you. She loves how you handle your phone. And this is why he's been through a lot of phones too. And so he'll be sitting there texting, and he'll just go, and then he'll go back to intensely typing. And he'll pick it up. He'll just toss his phone. Is that accurate, babe? Yeah, pretty accurate. And he'll just toss it and then have to pick it up and find it later. Yeah, the face. That's one thing I hate about the masks is I can't read your faces good now because you can always tell exactly what you're thinking. So I'm trying to read your eyebrows a little bit better. Yeah. So I've told one of these stories before, but I did get the privilege to get stuck on an elevator with Kelly. And for those that know him very well, some of you don't, but he's extremely claustrophobic. He's not as claustrophobic as he was when he was bigger. I think you can fit through more spaces now, so that's working great. And so I'll tell you where we are, and this was like bad from the get-go. So we go to Lindenloft. Yeah, we go to Lindenloft Pizzas, R.I.P. again. You'll see a recurring theme. And so we go to Lindenlofts in Shadowwood Mall. For those that don't know, there's an elevator in Shadowwood Mall. And for those that don't know, there should not be an elevator in Shadowwood Mall at all. And so we had, and this is going back to like Morty was talking about his heart, and some of y'all talked about his heart. So a good pastor's heart. We had a guy visiting our church that worked on the second floor of Shadowwood Mall. We get done eating, I think, is it me, Al, Clay, Leah, just us four, and Pop. And so we eat Lindenlofts, and we're going to go upstairs to say hi to this visiting guy. Yeah, so we're in the basement. So we're lower level, having to go up to the second floor. So we got to go through 2 stories. Pretty rough. And so we click the button. Nothing happens. And we're just sitting outside the elevator. Maybe we should take the stairs. I think one of us hits the button again. Finally, the door's open. We're like, all right, cool. So we get on the elevator. We click 2. And the door just stays open. And we're like, We're like about to step off, the door's closed. We're like, okay, cool. And then it doesn't move. Like you can, you feel it in your knees. It doesn't move. And we're just like, all right. And so we just stayed at Linden Lofts, just to remind you. So we're sitting there. I mean, we're already nervous anyway. It's Linden Lofts. And so we're sitting there, and he's like, guys. And I'm like, I can't handle it. I start laughing already. Like, I know he's claustrophobic. And we're on an elevator not moving. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, boy, it's about to get crazy. So I'm sitting there, and I think me and Allie are laughing. We're like, both like, like we're holding it together pretty good, though. And Leah's just being quiet. She's she's like in the opposite corner. Me and Allie are like, and then Clay is chilling for a minute. And then the elevator starts moving a little bit, like very slow. And then it's like, it starts doing a little shake on the way up, and we're like, oh yeah, here we go. And so it's like shaking, and it's going, and Clay is trying to be a good son, and no one else on the elevator is being any help. He's like, Dad, it's okay. Dad, it's okay. He's like, quit calling me Dad. And he's like, starts freaking out. And then this point, I'm not trying to do the quiet laugh. There's no quiet. I'm like, that ain't your dad no more. I'm just like, I'm all in on this. And so, boom, it finally stops shaking. Like it shakes and you're moving the whole, it stops. And he's like, starts hyperventilating and stuff. And we're like, oh God, he's like about to blow up. And so he's like, guys, somebody call Pisanio's. I'm like, why are we calling Pisanio's? We didn't even eat there. Someone call somebody. And he starts freaking out. And then he goes like power stance. He tries to open the door. He's hitting buttons, the alarm. And I literally like shoving his fingers into the crack, trying to open the door. And Clay's like, Dad, come on. He's like, no. He's just freaking out. And then finally the door opens. And if you've been at Shadowwood Mall, it's all open. Like, if you're up on the second floor, it just looks all the way down to the basement. He goes up to the rail. He's like, if there's not stairs, I'm jumping. I'm not going down no elevator again. And if you know him, he's being dead. So he's like, they'll have to come and get me from up here. And so that's my elevator story. We get back here, and he prints out, uses the church paper. We did not take a business meeting to approve that. But he prints out a very large article on claustrophobia for me to read. I was on the clock too, and I read very slow. So I appreciate the church for that. Thank you guys that paid for a whole semester to read that article. So that's my Linden Loft story. That was a blast. And by the way, me and Katie almost got stuck on an elevator this weekend, and I thought of you. Some reason this elevator, you had to scan your key card on the elevator to go up. So we're sitting there and nothing's working and the door wouldn't open back. And I'm just thinking, Linden Lofts. Oh yeah. And she was about to freak out too. So I was going to have to read another article if I started laughing. So I just shut my mouth. Another story I've got. So she didn't tell me 5 minutes. She just asked me to share. And so if you've ridden with Kelly much, which I did in the time I worked here, because I didn't get paid mileage and he did. So we rode together a lot. And so we're cruising around. This is in the Titan. RIP to you. It's still in the family. So we're in the Titan, and I'm a math teacher now. And there's that cool gas gauge that, like, it kind of tells you how much you have left. That was like a suggestion to him. Like, it was not even that. I don't know what it was to him, really. It was like, hey, I'll fill up every so often, and we'll see what happens. And so you remember when we ran out? Okay, good. I do, because I had to walk. And so we leave here, and we are going to deposit our checks at TTCU. We pull in TTC. Yeah, thanks, Morty. Should have gave me a ride. And so we're at TTCU. We're in the little drive-thru. I'm filling out my deal. Are you remembering? Okay. I'm filling out my deal. And he's like, get out. I was like, what? We're in the drive-thru. Like, the lady's at the window. I'm like, no. He's like, get out. Why? I'm almost out of gas. I'm going to try to make it to the gas station. I was like, all right. I get out of the truck, whoa, and he just leaves. And I'm standing, and the lady's turned around at her computer. She comes back, and I'm just like, hey, what do you do? And I'm like, hey, here's my deposit. This sounds like something dumb I would have done in high school. It's like walk through. And so I'm like, here's my deposit. She's like, all right. So she takes it, does it, brings back my little deposit slip. Yeah. Yeah. And she was like, where'd your ride go? I was like, I don't know. And I just started walking off. And so now I'm like, I don't know where to go. He didn't text or call. And so I'm like, how do I, because you can't go backwards because they got the fence there and there's trees. So I was like, how do I, so I'm like, okay. So I go out, going down the road by Hamlin's, and then I call him. And I'm like, hey, he's like, first thing. He didn't even say hey back. He said, I didn't make it. I'm like, what? I got left here and you didn't make it? The crap. So he didn't make it. I end up finding him that little like dirt road that's by a Tender Touch. Well, he parked at the bottom. It's a hill. We didn't know that, but it's a hill, and he parked at the bottom. There's a slight gradient all the way there. So we end up trying to push his truck. He's like, yeah, you push. What? This is before he met Caesar. And so I ain't pushing the truck. I try to push the truck, and he's like halfway in the truck, halfway holding onto the wheel. And I think we moved it about 4 inches, and then we hit like a pebble, and it was like, we're not going any further. And so he's like, oh. And so then we walked to come and go. They had like a half a gallon jug. And so we like buy a jug, fill it up, and take it back. We put it in, and then it gives us like barely enough fumes to like drive and make it to come and go. And then I think he didn't have his card, so I had to pay for the gas anyway. That's probably about what happened. And so that's my story about running out of gas. There's a lot of good driving lessons I've learned from him. He likes to, I don't know if text is the right word. He likes to angry text like I showed earlier while he's driving. And so he'll be doing that. And we will be quickly approaching a stagnant car. And so we'll be quickly approaching that car. And I'm like, do I say something? I haven't been driving that long. And I'll be like, Pop, there's a car. And he'll, he's like, and then he'll start doing this on his fingers. He's like, 38 years and 4 months I've been driving. I hadn't hit any car yet. And starts giving me all these statistics on how good of a driver he is. And every time he uses his fingers to count up to tell me how long he's had his license. I'm like, yeah, and you got it taken away a few times, and there's this and that. So learned lots of good lessons from him. Hey, thanks, Pop. You're awesome.
Mama? You know how many times you've had me sit in a chair like this while people did this? Oh, no, it's been more than once. Several times I've been stuck like that. And I finally told him, I don't like this, but I'm glad to get him back right now. So I'll tell a couple of things. Life with Kelly has been interesting, and it has not been boring. Not too often we went on vacation by ourselves, but we took off and we went to Gatlinburg a few years ago. And this was almost alluded in, I think, by Rita. So when you reach a certain age, when you go to an amusement park, you no longer go to ride the rides. You go for the entertainment, you go for the shows and that type thing. So, so then we are picking our schedule, and there's 2 shows that we really want to see, and one of them kind of runs right up to the time of the next one or over into it a little bit. So, we're clever, and we decide, let's sit right here by the exit door, and we will slip out right before this one's over, and we'll make it to the next one. So we are
And the exit door is really and truly probably from me to Kelly. So we get up, it's time to go. He gets up, I'm right behind him. We take 2 steps, and I run smack dab into him. He has stopped, and it's dark, and we're trying to get out without making a scene. And I'm trying to push him on through to get us through. And so he stood up, and when he stood up, sometimes, well, that's a whole nother story. But when he stood up, down went the jeans, and I'm trying to push him through the door. He's trying to pull him up and keep walking. We finally, by the time we make it to daylight, yes, he's pulled him back up, but we are doubled over, rolling, trying to get to that other show. And it was not anything you could contain. So all the people that are watching us as we are literally dying, trying to recover and get there. So, belt. Invest in a good belt. That's always a good investment. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about his passion. And I don't remember what year it was, but we were going with Dex and Carol to the OSU game in Norman. And I don't remember why it was one of those freaky weather things, but we left Muskogee with decent weather, and by the time we got to Norman, it was spitting sleet, freezing cold. It was unbearable weather conditions. So we take a vote. Who wants to skip the game? Dex, Carol, and I, our hands are up. We're good. We are good to listen to the score and catch it whenever. But Kelly went to Norman to see a ball game. So we pull in some shop close to the stadium, find him a jacket that's all weather, has a hood. We get him in, we drop him off at the stadium, and we say, call us when you're ready. And away we went to the nearest mall. And this was back when Sears and different department stores were there, and they had TVs lined up everywhere. So you could watch the game in great comfort any time you want it. But he went for the game, and he was going to watch the game, and he stayed for the game. And I don't remember how long he stayed, way longer than any of us would have ever dreamed he would have. But that's the kind of passion that he has. And thankfully, that same passion has bled over into our marriage and his love for his kids and grandkids and the church and his pastorate and everything. So for that, we will say we're thankful and we're grateful, and keep preaching the word, and we love you.
All right, Clay.
So I would venture to say, maybe outside of my mom, there's probably not very many people on earth that have seen you at your very best and at your very worst. And I'm one of those. I'm going to shoot for somewhere right in the middle. Right up front, I guess I should probably point out, if you're not already aware, that Allie is his favorite child. But I'm my mom's favorite child. And so we're a team, and they're a team. She laughs at my jokes. I don't know what they do, but they do things like that, you know. He's always liked Allie better, that's what I'll say. However, he was an active dad whenever I was growing up. He coached my first ball team. We were the Hamlin's West Bulls. And we were, his love for Hamlin's goes way back. It runs deep. Named our baseball team after it. Anyway, I understand they sponsored us, but it's a joke, and I was trying to make it funny. Anyway, and so, I mean, we were pretty good as a young team. I think we went undefeated for 2 or 3 years, and here's why. Because I remember we lived in Southgate, and there, coming out the front door, there's just this long brick wall. That's the garage wall. And there I'd be standing up against the brick wall like this, a little 6-year-old boy with a glove like this, and my dad would be back there just hammering balls right at me, right up against the brick wall, and I, boom, 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 and I... Right. Yeah. Or like, I'm learning how to get a swing, which I eventually developed an okay one. But, you'd step back because you're scared of the ball. And so he'd just line up these bats right behind you. And so you'd break an ankle every time you tried to step back. But like I said, we were pretty good. We didn't lose very much. And it's funny, though, looking back, all my friends that were part of that team or people that watched us play, whenever we talk about the good old days, all they ever mention is the bike shorts that he wore when he coached us. Those were legendary. Actually, you ought to start preaching in them. I guarantee you the crowd would, well, I don't know if it'd grow or shrink. Anyway, but like but like I said, he's always taken an active role, sometimes too active. Dad's the guy, like, you've heard the stories, OGQ, ladies' man, and all the things. And so I remember when me and Leah were starting to date, he would be like, like we're going on our first date. And it's like, we're going to Tulsa. And he's like, all right, what do you plan on doing? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, like on the drive up, what do you plan on doing? I'm like, drive a car? And he's like, no, you got to be driving. And then you just kind of go... You just kind of, just put your hand on her leg. I'm like, I'm the mule in the Kentucky Derby, bro. I'm just happy to be here. I ain't touching her leg, you know what I mean? But anyway, so the first date went well, and we dated for a long time before we got married. But just like all dating couples that are in a serious relationship, that are in church for sure, you go eat after, and then you come back and you park in the parking lot for a little while and talk about how good God is. And so I remember many times, me and Leah, we go to Hamlin's, because that's what you do at Timothy Baptist Church when Sunday night church is over. You go to Hamlin's. And we go and we'd eat at Hamlin's, and we'd drive back and we'd be sitting there, and me and her'd be in the parking lot and talking about life or whatever. Here his car would come. He'd pull through, and like here's our car, and we're looking this way, and he'd just drive by. And there he'd go out of the parking lot. That'd be it. The old random drive-bys, that's what we called those. That's what me and Leah called them. Not sure, but I think he may have put some of his buddies in the church to pull, swing through every now and then too. But anyway, he's a good fella, a little sensitive. He doesn't like to be picked at. And he doesn't like to be criticized. However, I'm his kid, so it's my job. And me and Leah had been married for a year or so, and we're going on family vacation. By family, it's like Mom, Dad, me, Leah, Allie, and we're going to Southern California. And we're small town folk, and we get to Southern California, and we're in this rent-a-car, and it's crazy, and it's kind of hectic, and Dad's driving, and he likes to jab the brakes, you know what I mean? Like, and kind of just do silly things, the chigger on a motorcycle thing. He's just silly behind the wheel. It's what he is. It's what he always has been. My friends always loved to ride with him when we were in 4th grade. Anyway, and so there we are. We're in San Diego, and traffic is wild. It's crazy, and he's driving, and you can tell he's stressed out. And skirting. After like the 3rd neck break that I had, I'm like, do I need to drive? You're mean, and you like to hurt people. Word for word, that's exactly what he said. And I was just like, accurate. Like, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, anyway, I'm going to say maybe the most impressive thing about my dad is how big his mouth gets when he sings. Like, I did not even know you could sing like this. But that dude was straight up belt. Like, I'm like, how do you do that? I can't do it. I don't know. You know, my man has a standard. He has a standard in lots of things. And sometimes things don't meet his standard. There's never been a recipe that was right or good enough in my father's eyes. I don't care if it was the Nebraska state champion winning corn dish. It needs a little something. Needs a little something extra. What'd you do? I dumped head country in it. Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. No recipe's ever good enough. I know. Are you okay, man? It's like I hit you. You think I beat him up or something? I know. I'm mean and I hurt people. Yeah. That's what he just yelled at me. Anyway, there are certain things about this fella. He hates it when you do that. I can't help it. Yeah, and I have to always kind of, tinker with a recipe or two. It's funny. I probably need to wrap it up, but he's gotten sassy in his older age. The older he gets, he's kind of sassy and he's snappy. And a lot of people probably don't get the privilege of working with their dad in close quarters like I do or like Allie has. But we're kind of like an open book, we're family, we're open book office, and he'll come in and he'll be like, "Oh, your mother." And I'm like, "You okay?" "Well, here's what happened. She did this, and she switched this, and then I came and asked, and she just looked at me. Ugh." And then, like, that happens, that happens. And then we'll be at Mom's house, and she'll be like, "Your father, he did this, and then he did this." And so I just looked at him. And I'm like, so much to look forward to. Like, it's so, I love it. It's awesome. But, the truth is, every boy wants to be like his dad. And if that was going to be the case for me, I'd have to get really into cooking, wear fancy socks, and love turquoise. My favorite movie would have to be Grease because I love musicals. I would watch late night infomercials and actually buy the things that they're trying to sell. And I would drink pumpkin spice lattes and have an extra pinch of cinnamon added to every one of them. That being said, though, he's a good dude. There are parts of my dad that I want to be like. And there are parts that I don't. I guess that's probably in every relationship. But there's never been a doubt in my mind of your heart, of your character, and I respect you as much as I respect anybody on the planet. And I guess coming from your kid, that's probably pretty solid rep. So good job, kudos to you, love you, and don't this guy. I've seen him throw a phone through a wall. And literally, the hole was in the house for a year or two. Oh, am I? I'm not taking Allie's story, but I say all that. I've seen him do that. And then he tells me I'm too hard on my kids whenever I'm like, Anyway, that's it.
I figured I better save his favorite for last. So, like Clay said, I am his favorite. Clay is Mom's favorite. They deny it. It is true. There is no debate that needs to happen. They prove it every day. So, I'll tell just a few of childhood stories that I don't really get to do this very much. He gets to tell all his favorite stories from our childhood. But my mother, when I was young, was a practicing RN. So she was gone in the mornings. So Daddy had to get baby girl ready for school, which he got really good at using a curling iron. I mean, I would go with ringlets and everything every day. But we were almost always running late, it felt like. So one day, we're running late. I've gotten dressed, got my hair done. We're all ready to go. I don't know why, but I was wearing a skirt that day too. It was a denim skirt to school. I come out, I'm all ready, and he's like, "Oh, that is too wrinkly. We do not have time. Oh my gosh, it's so wrinkly. Get up here, get up here." He stands me on the counter and plugs in the iron. Yeah, what you think is about to happen, it happened. So I stand there, and I am scared, and I'm 6 or 7. I'm in first grade. I know I'm in first grade. And he, gets his hand and starts to iron, and we're getting pretty close to done, and I don't know if I got scared or if he was screaming like he does randomly to scare people, but I jumped, iron to the back of the thigh. Yeah, that was fun. Got to tell my teacher my dad burned me with an iron. Something else my dad used to do to me often. When I was little, I was kind of forced into liking music, which is fine. It was, that's what I do now. But I was a little bit more shy as a child. I didn't really like to, get out and do things. And we would have people over, and my dad would tell me that I was going to go out and sing for them. That's not something you do. You're not like, "Come over to my house so I can sing for you." But he would tell me, and I'd be like, Dad, no. And he'd be like, "You are going to sing, and you get out there and you smile and you sing." So I would, "Jesus will still be there," every time. I would be crying and sad, and he would make me. He was a little crazy. Speaking of, when we were younger, he had a temper like no other. It is something that unfortunately I have inherited from him, but God had a really funny way of keeping him humble, and he still does. Like Clay alluded to, which so happens to, not be in his memory, I have watched my dad be mad and throw, this was when we had phones, cordless phones in your house, not like a cell phone. Throw a cordless phone, and it stuck into the wall. We had a hole in our wall for quite a while. Oh, yeah. I've watched him be mad at me one morning for yet again running late, which is usually not the child's fault, but that's okay. He gets in the car, and he throws his keys, and they hit the cup holder and bounce back up and shatter his rearview mirror. And it's still just not that long ago, he's hot to trot, and he's telling us a story that's getting him all upset, and he's about to pull in the church, and his side mirror just smacks the church mailbox. And me and Kayla are like, "Oh my gosh," and he says, "It's fine, I do it all the time." Which it is a little funny. Clay alluded to this. This is my last story, but like Dad said, I am his favorite. I'm his venting partner. He is my venting partner, and I listen to him when he's frustrated. And my favorite time when he vents happens to be about my mother. So I'm going to tell one more of those stories. We love you, Mom. And we usually are on your side. My favorite story, this happened over the summer. I think it was Sonny's birthday party at our house or something. And a lot of people were at our house, and we were outside trying to social distance, and Mom's, doing her thing. And I don't remember who all was there, but I know that me and Kayla were the ones that he walked up to, and he was just, your mother, she's driving me crazy, and she's this, and she's just being so hateful and mean, and blah, blah, blah. And we look back, and my mom is up in the porch serving everybody cake and getting everybody refills and just smiling, and we're like, yeah, she's a rough one. So this is my dad. I will accept the kidney stones that you've given me. I will accept the hard-headedness you've given me. Your phone is going off right now. Guess it can happen to anybody. I will accept the kidney stones. I will accept the temper. I will accept the hard-headedness. I will not accept hair loss, so God, please do not send that my way. I will accept all of the things if I happen to get just a portion of your heart for people, for your church, and for God. We love you. We hope that this was fun for you. It was sure fun for us. And a happy anniversary as our pastor. Do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you all. I appreciate you very much. Even the ones that, I've always learned that we all remember stories differently. But most everything told, I remembered all of it. There's two things that were told that I don't even have any recollection of. And I have learned, though, that happens to me quite often, especially the older I get. And sometimes I think we don't have it because we don't want it. We don't want it. And yes, I will admit that y'all are foolish the way you yell at your kids. But I don't know. I told your mother you learned that from her, and she better watch it. Thank you all. Everybody that told stories, you were cracking me up. Some of them were hilarious, and some of them, Morty, you over there still? I thought you were going to tell this, but you didn't. But one of my first days of pastoring, you were on your knees in my office asking God to forgive you of your sins. And I thought you were going to say that was your favorite memory, because I'll never forget that night. I hadn't been pastoring very long, and after church, you remember it? He came and said, "Can we talk?" And it was one of the, still to this day, most broken I've ever seen someone, just over needing Christ. And so I remember, when people would get up and tell stories, I remember things like that. I remember the funny things too, and they are funny and they were fun. But when I look at you all, what God brings to my mind is spiritual milestones. Things that happen. And I'm glad for that. I've told people all the time in counseling, I don't want you to fear that when I lay eyes on you, I'm going to think of what you just told me. Because for some reason, God has gifted me to not even think about that stuff unless we're sitting in the office talking about it. When I see you, I see your family at the altar praying, or us in the water being baptized, or me texting you and say, "Would you like to pray tonight?" And you saying, "Sure, let's pray." That's what I see. And so I just am thankful to be able to be a pastor. I'm thankful to have the uniqueness of only ever pastoring one church at this point in my life. 21 years. I didn't realize yesterday was that day, though. It never even came to my mind. But I did get that Friday was Boss's Day, and Kayla's the only one that acknowledged it. Thank you, Kayla. I appreciate you. Oh, sorry. She texted me after we left the gym, and she was like, "Oh, by the way, forgot to tell you Happy Boss's Day." I said, "Is it Boss's Day?" She said, "Yes," and I literally hung up. Oh. We hung up from there, and I prayed the rest of the way home thanking God, because technically I feel like he's my boss. Got home, told Joy, "Kayla called me and told me Happy Boss's Day," and I called God and told him, and she just looked at me. She still doesn't get me. No, I'm just kidding you. She did. She looked at me, but I won't say much. I just want to say I love you all. I thank you. I do hope that there are times that you think of me and you laugh. But I also hope there are times you think of me and you think of a memory where we had a moment where God clicked in our life. Whether it be through preaching the word and him speaking to you, or whether it be through just spending time together and him speaking to us. But it's an honor to pastor people, and it's an honor to pastor you, and it's an honor to be you guys' dad 90% of the time, and it's an honor to be your husband and all the others that came up. And Amber, I don't know if you're still here, but you have stretched me and taught me a lot. I just want you to know that. She didn't talk much about how long did you live upstairs? A couple of years? Amber lived on our second floor for a couple of years. She lived with us. I love you, Amber.
Okay, I think we would be doing him an injustice if we didn't end by praying for him. So you can go down, or you can, I don't care what you do. But I was going to say, Kenny, if you will come and pray over him.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight, Lord, with thankful hearts. God, I thank you for this church, Lord. There's probably no one sitting here, Father, that couldn't have shared a story of some kind, Father. How you've worked through Kelly in their lives and their lives of their family, Lord. Thank you for the fellowship that is here, God. I thank you for your spirit that always dwells here, Lord. I pray even as I speak and pray tonight that you would help us to take a minute just to be thankful for the way you hover over this place, God. And in evidence, I mean, it's not hard to see or feel, Lord. I think a lot of that, God, has to do with our leadership, Lord. I thank you for Kelly. I thank you for his dedication. I thank you, Lord, for what you've put in him. Part of it is probably from his upbringing, Lord, but the work ethic that you've put in him. There's some great pastors in this country and some that aren't as great, Lord, but I'd put his work ethic up against any of them, Father, and I thank you for that. He's come a long ways, Lord. He's, from his own pulpit, said that there have been times when he's gone back and listened to his earlier messages. And I think he's actually said, I'm not sure I'd have came back to this church if I'd have been sitting under that preaching. But God, he's doing something right, because the whole bunch sure have. Lord, I just pray you continue to bless him and Joy, their home, their family, Lord, their ministry, this church, Father. God, I pray you would continue to, I say this with as little pride as possible, a lighthouse, Father, to this community, to the people that need you, God. Thank you for the heart that you put in him. And I pray, Lord, that as he continues to lead, God, that would rub off on those that he is in leadership over, God. And Lord, that we'd take that tingle or that feeling that we get in this building when we hear about that stuff, Lord, out those front doors and into the community to the people that need it, God. I think all these words tonight, everything that's gone on here for a long time, God, I don't know that you could please Kelly Payne anymore than to see that mission carried out. We thank you for who you are. We praise you. We can never thank you enough, God. We know where the credit goes, Father. Keep us always aware where the credit goes, God. Help us always to be very aware, God, of what we are without you and what we're capable of without you, God. And Lord, it'd be my prayer that you'd keep on showing us what we can be with you. We thank you and praise you, God, and just ask, God, that you keep your hand on this church and on our pastor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank y'all for attending the roast of Kelly Payne. You are dismissed.